because it's not something you can count on. And you know, and sometimes I think that the accomplished amateur has got it best. You know, he's the person who does it best in music, maybe in the arts in general. But
has it best why? The accomplished amateur has it best why?
Because you get to practice it as a passion and as a hobby and something you love to do, and you're not relying on it to make a living, and you don't have to really be concerned with the marketplace that much, you know. It's, you know, obviously, I having had a life in music, a career in music, and enough commercial success to continue, you know, I'm deeply grateful for that. And I think things were never better than they are now for musicians.
Yeah. Since you mentioned Kim, which I was going to get to anyway, because when I put this project in, when I first got it this summer, after the first pass, I already picked my favorite song. Of course, you listen to a James Taylor record and your favorite song changes every week because your stuff is just that good. But James, when I heard You and I Again, that song that you wrote for your lovely bride, Kim, it hit me. It's just a beautiful, beautiful song. Tell me. I mean, I'm sure Kim loves it, obviously, but
she does. Yeah, I was nervous well, she knew the music to it because I've been playing it literally for 15 years. I've been playing that. I wrote it on the piano. I didn't record it. Larry played the piano on it, Larry Goldings, because I just couldn't do it. You know, I couldn't perform it like he can. But she heard me playing this thing for just over and over again, and it kind of drove her crazy. Every time I was around the keyboard, I'd sit down and play this little set of chord changes, and then when she heard it with a melody and a lyric put to it, she was she was really tickled. You know, she loves the song too, and you know, the song really worked.
Yeah. You mentioned a moment ago that, you know, times have never been greater or better for musicians. You may be right about that, but to my mind, you may disagree. Times have never been worse for melody. It's not what it once was, but you have hung on to an appreciation and embrace and an advance of melody in your music. Tell me why.
Now that's a really good point. You know, I have written a few tunes that started with a melody, and then I wrote changes to go with them. Mean Old Man is such a tune. But usually when I write a song, I start with a set of chord changes, and I find a melody that those changes suggest. So I haven't thought of myself so much as a melody writer as someone who discovers a melody within a sort of musical context, and as if it were one of the possible harmonies that one could sing. And of course, how the lyric works with it is everything. It's key. Again, all of these things are not consciously preconceived. I don't approach it in a conscious way. It just sort of comes out. You know, I find my way forward, and I follow the song through to its conclusion. But I haven't thought of myself as a melody writer. I think I discover melodies within a possible chord change. Occasionally, I will write a melody and then write changes around it. So I'm glad to hear you say that you think that my melodies are strong, because I've never really thought of it. I thought of myself as a strong melody writer, just as someone who's following. Well, it is. It's a path through the changes, with the lyric directing it, and often I feel I'll choose a melody line and then I'll cast it in different, like that song "Angels of Fenway." Basically, repeats essentially the same melody line over and over again, but it starts in G, and then it goes down to E minor and sings the same melody over an E minor context. The song Today, Today, Today actually takes the first melody and when the bridge comes in and it maintains that same melody as the chords go completely somewhere else. So melody's important to me, no question about it. And I hear what you're saying when you say that these are dark days for good melodies. I think there are a number of things involved there that we can talk about too. I think what's happened to melody is that production, a certain kind of production values become more important, and people are more compelled by a sort of rhythmic thing and by a groove, you know, and the melody doesn't have to sell the song anymore. You know, we listen. I think another thing that happens is that our attention span has been trimmed shorter and shorter, so that
all you need is a good hook.
You need a good hook. And well, you know, that's true. You know, I have no criticism whatsoever about that kind of music. I think it's great, and I've written those kind of songs myself. But I think there was a time where if you were sitting down with a piano and a voice, you basically had to come up with something that was going to grab the audience in the melody, in the lyric, that would sell the song, sort of. And you didn't have the power of like the drums and bass and the groove that's so compelling and that we love so much. You know?
So you might not think of yourself as a melody writer or a melody maker, but
Hello,
I'm finding
everybody.
it.
Friday
I'm glad you do. Which leads me to ask, though, and I asked you in advance to set your humility aside, but if you don't think of yourself as a melody maker, a melody writer, what do you think your strong suit is relative to your writing?
I think primarily
Friday night,
I'm a
everybody.
lyricist.
It's a Saturday morning over in
I'm also good at
UK,
choral
United Kingdom.
harmonies. You know, I do
11
that.
hours ahead of me. So
I have a sort of vocabulary
almost
on
10
the
to
guitar.
6 a.m. on Saturday morning.
It's not dead simple.
Have a
but
good
it's not super
morning,
complicated
Fog
either.
and Danica and all of yous. Scottish
it's,
Wonder
you know,
and everybody
it's not
else.
very sophisticated. Influenced by a lot of different things. I think at the base